the 8-8 stat line is very big, it's very powerful, but yeah, on the other end of it, it's extremely fragile.
Get your thoughts too, as being ranked number one. Everybody's dying to know what Billy Hughes thinks. Welcome to WWB Worldwide Broadcast. This is episode 70, another Big 10 episode benchmark. Normally we would have a ward staff member on, but they are all currently in Montreal, Canada at Comic-Con. So this is a perfect opportunity for us to promote Comic-Con for you guys. So if you are in Montreal or near the area, or you went to Comic-Con, go check out the ward staff. They got their booth there, and they're promoting with Asthma Day is one of their new partners that they're partnering with for their game to promote it. And so kind of a cool time, like I said, to be a part of Ward and just watching the growth of it. And so yeah, it's pretty exciting. But with that, it's me and KC, and even if we don't have any Ward staff, you know what, we're gonna power through. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. How you doing, KC?
I'm doing good so far.
No, that's good to hear. One more big shout out I want to make for a lot of people. I know I'm excited about this, Casey. I'm sure you're kind of excited about it too. Is the Crit Hit League? They are also going to be starting up here. At the next week, I believe, is the deadline for the start. Now, again, even if you don't hop in right at the start, you can register at any time, which is really cool with the Crit Hit League. You're able to basically ELO rank system, play ranked games against people online, in person. It's a whole league that they're like tracking all the data, all the information, and so definitely something that it's player driven, and I guess something that I personally think is kind of great is just like having all of these different varieties of leagues and formats and things for people to get into. So I guess for KC, it's like what are your thoughts with like the Crit Hit League? Like I said, again, like player driven, more like they kind of run on their own system, on their own stuff. They also have a ton of different awards that they are doing. What's your thought with that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think I mentioned a while back on another episode that, and when we were first talking about Cricket League, yeah, player-driven, like created formats they're great for the game. I just come from, my 30 years of Magic, and some people might know, like the Commander format in Magic is like literally the most popular way to play Magic now, and it was a fan created format. Like and there's actually a few others. I've played a handful of other formats in Magic that were fan created that are still fairly popular. So yeah, I almost feel like it's sort of a natural progression to a card game. Like,
Right.
a game gets created and fans love it, and they kind of think up of another way to play the game. That's, usually pretty fun. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, hopefully more of them will come about eventually. We were, I'd say, kind of in the group of people that, we got the AJ format going in this game. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah. WWB. I don't want to toot our own horn, but a lot of we've tried to push a lot of these different leagues and these things. Being on the front line, I would say of like, yeah. Obviously that's a stance that I take too. KC is like, okay, any league, the more leagues, the better. Any other ways for people to play, it's like just having as much competition, having as much ways for people to find people and play. I think like just keeps growing the player base of Ward just in general. And again, people kind of find out which category they kind of fit under, right? It's like there might be a couple different categories, like you brought up AJ. The Crit Hit League obviously is a little bit different than just the standard format right now that the Ward ranking, normal ranking goes through. So it's like just having all these different forms, I guess, is always just a benefit, like you said, to the community, giving people more stuff to do. Maybe they can't make it to one, but they can do one of the other ones. And so it's like, just the more options, the better, honestly, in my opinion. So again, shout out to the Crit Hit League. Billy and Eric they have a Facebook page to make sure if you want to register, go onto their Facebook page. It's just Crit Hit League. And I mean, it should be the only one. I think when I searched it up, that was the only one that I found. So pretty easy to find. They have a sign up page. Make sure that you sign up, get all the forms filled out, and then then you'll be registered into the league. And like I said, it'll kind of run alongside for, I would assume, most of the year. And then at the end of the day, they have an awesome Judgment Day, I think it is called, is the big like tournament to decide all the hard work that everyone's going to put in. So I'm really excited to kind of see how that goes, and rooting for those guys a lot, because like I said, any content, honestly, just added into the scene is awesome. Just gives people something to look forward to. So yeah, again, the Crit Hit League, make sure you guys sign up for that. Let's keep it rolling. All right, Casey. So we brought up the Elite 8 list on a couple episodes ago, and you brought up to me that we should maybe do an Elite 8 creatures list, and I thought that'd be a great idea, because we kind of agreed that like Magic is usually kind of more powerful, a lot more flexible in decks for people to kind of run, so they end up being just some of the stronger Elite 8 cards. And again, if people don't know, the Elite 8 is 8 powerful cards in the 8, what we consider the 8 most powerful cards in Ward. That it's like if you had a hand of 8 cards, these would be cards that you always want in your hand. But now today we're gonna do an Elite 8 of creatures. And so Casey, if you want to start us off, what are the creatures that you have for candidates for being in the Elite 8?
All right. So first out, like these, the Elite Creature 8, it is not the most, powerful damaging cards in the game. Creator, Owl God, Octa Orc, Perfect Shark, all the guys with tons of dice. Like, this list is not that. The Elite 8 creature list is kind of I want to say the 8 creatures that are probably the most flexible creatures that could easily get slid into some other deck plan, is maybe your supportive creatures to your main deck plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like these cards are just really good, and just kind of universal and able to go into a lot of different things. So that's kind of what I'm going with this Elite 8, is they're versatile and universal creatures. So
Okay. Yeah.
um
If I can
but-
just give a little piece of it, I kind of like that. Like you said, I think a lot of times in Ward, uh, the creature effects can do a considerable amount. I mean, like you said, there might not be on the level of like Magic cards effects, but they definitely, like you said, you can build decks around these effects. You can definitely just like utilize those effects to their fullest ability. So it's like, most of these creatures, I'm assuming, are going to end up being effect creatures. I mean, I don't know if that's something you really preface, but definitely I would assume it's probably going to have to do mostly with the effects. I mean, as much as, like you were saying, stats are a lot to the game, I don't think they always like make a full deck or a full like assortment of the creatures that you have to put in your deck. So I would say, like you said, are these in my opinion, are like flexible creatures that can fit in decks, and yeah, usually they offer some kind of ability that enhances your deck in some way, right?
oh yeah, yep, that's what these are for. And these are in no particular order. They're not ranked, as powered. It's just a list of 8 creatures, okay?
But I'm
So
sure, like you said, as we go through it, we'll probably try to put them a little bit in a certain tier of like, okay, this is where this sits, this is where this sits, kind of thing. So, and
yeah,
I hope that we get to debate a little bit on it, because I'm sure we have a couple of opposite opinions on things. So yeah, but fire away, Casey. Let's see what you got.
but we'll start with number 1, which maybe we'll both agree it does belong at the top of the list. We'll start with that. And number 1 is Psychic Toad. Um, just like I said, universal. Can just easily get slid into just about any deck you want. Its 20 hit point is an extremely low, uh, you know, uh, um, like condition to your deck.
Mhm.
It's not a big deal. That's why you're able to just get it in there just with whatever you want. And yeah, the reason he's there at the top is just because his effect is just so darn good. I mean, like I said, it works in just about everything you can think of. Just you almost have to think of a reason not to be running Psychic Toad.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm to follow up on that, I think the just currently in the meta award with I don't want to keep bringing it up, but the ban list that has occurred recently, and then so it's like, okay, Psychic Toad, I will say, just like is kind of the biggest answer right now for a lot, like you were saying, a lot of those big beefy creatures. If you want to counter to them, Psychic Toad, if you don't know, when he is summoned on summon effect, he can steal the primary creature that your opponent has and turn him into a limited summon on your side of the field. So he steals their primary creature and puts it on the other side of the field. And a lot of there isn't really too many great ways besides like creature negation effects that like Iron Range or Mind Sap, things like that to basically stop it. And so like you said, I think he definitely, with only being 20 HP and having that crazy of an effect, even though he's pretty low stats, he's not going to kill anything usually when he's out on the field, but that's not really the point of the card, right? The point of the card is just to interrupt your opponent, mess up whatever board state they've kind of built, and turn the tides award, as we all like to say here. So it's definitely one of those turn the tide cards. So, yeah, I
he,
think
he
definitely deserves to be on the list somewhere.
he does make equipment fall off of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there is that.
He's basically the turncoat built into a creature in a sense, right? So yeah,
Yep.
definitely very powerful effect. Reason why he's limited too, right? He's on the limited list. You can only have one in your deck, because pretty strong effect. So all right, what's the next one you got?
Number two, the assassin. I think most everybody kind of would see the reasons why. I mean, it's one of the hardest hitting creatures in the game for a very minimal requirement. Those 10 hit points almost mean nothing going in your cemetery, and you get a massively strong punch with it. All on its own. If you start comboing it with other things, its damage output gets pretty ridiculous, very fast, very easy. So again, very universal, can go in a lot of things. So that's on the list.
Yeah, I think probably the number one staple in Ward, like you said, for like effect creatures, Assassin has always been kind of on the top of the chart there. Just having the ability to put a couple, if not just one equipment on a powerful equipment and basically one shotting most creatures. Yeah, it's definitely like you said, and only having 10 HP, having the top number of speed that you kind of most creatures in the game so far do have, is definitely something that it deserves to be in this spot for a reason, right? There is a reason why everybody knows how infamous Assassin is, and why we all you get very nervous when your opponent opens up with that creature or has that creature on the field. You're definitely trying to find every way to get rid of that thing as fast as you can, so they can't just smash you down in a couple turns. So yeah, very
Yeah.
good. Another creature that definitely deserves to be on the list, I think.
Yep. So moving on to number three. This is actually a card that I have barely played, but I know you have used quite extensively. Is Kendo Tiger. Um, just because I haven't used it doesn't mean I don't recognize its power. I have certainly been kicked in the teeth by this card numerous times. It's just yeah. I don't know. I need to play it more, actually. I mean, I really should because I do think it's very versatile. I mean, for those that don't know, when Kendo Tiger enters play, you get your choice of two different effects. You can just blow up a magic card that your opponent has. This is a way to, it gets underneath all those magic negating cards. You get under that because it's just a creature effect. So a lot harder to stop that, of course. And his other ability is to just make your opponent randomly discard a card to the bottom of their deck. So I mean, yeah, it's just random, but it's messed me up many, many times. Like you're just, you got a two or three card hand and you're hanging on to, two out of your three cards to do some big specific play in a turn or two, and sometimes they Kendo Tiger and they send away your Holy Light or your Visitor from Beyond or your Flame of the Infinite that was gonna turn the tide of the game, just randomly just gone. So yeah, it blows up magic, but that discard thing is no joke. Like it could really throw a wrench in people's plans. So yeah, just good strategic value. Like I said, for getting underneath, magic scenarios where your magic is blocked. So
Yeah, I mean, as you stated, I definitely have used this card a lot. I've promoted this card a lot to people. When Irresistible Love was in the meta, was super heavy before it got limited. This was one of my creatures that I, constantly told people. I'm like, it's only 40 HP. Yes, it's only a 1-3 stat, but at the same time, it's like that 1-3 stat, can still usually dish out a good, decent amount of hits, depending on how much AL the creature has. But for most parts, it lands its hits almost every time. So I'm not just going to say the utility of it, but I do like that you bring up the utility, because, like you said, even if you're not destroying one of those powerful cards that are shutting you off the game, just having that ability to destroy a card at any point, too, is always really nice as well. And like you said, for these cards, something that should be mentioned, like Psychic Toad and Kendo Tiger, you tend to usually want to go second, just so that you don't accidentally open up with one of these cards. Because if you go first, they do lose a little bit of their power. Where it's like Psychic Toad going first, you have to play Psychic Toad. You don't get its effect. And Kendo Tiger, you play it first, so you don't really get its effect. So you kind of want to make sure, again, when we're talking about these cards too, though, that like you understand the use of them. They're not just like, just because we say put them in a deck, or they should be in every deck, you still need to know like what that looks like, right? It's not just like, oh, this card makes your deck 10 times better. It's like, no, you have to understand what about it makes it better, right? It's like, so as people go forward, they are lucky that now we have the free mulligan too at the beginning, which definitely has helped out for those decks too, where if you don't want to have those effects go off, if you open up with a Psychic Toad or a Kendo Tiger, it's like, all right, I can just mulligan this and hopefully find something else. But at the end of the day, I will continue to promote these cards. Kendo Tiger, like you said, is always going to be one that I think for the rest of Ward, I'll probably be telling people, because that effect is very good as we speak of, like you said, any of these blanketing magic effects, it can deal with very well. So yeah, I think it's a really good shout out. It's a Kendo Tiger. All right, what else you got? We still got what, 5 more?
yep. Next up, we got the promo card Arcturus. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, he recently showed up with the Gen 3 promos. A great stat line. I mean, that was he 6 armor, so he doesn't have a requirement to get. You can just drop him in play. 70 hit points. He sticks around for a while, and 4 dice is a decent amount of damage off of a guy, especially that has no summon requirement. I would say that the only downside to this card is his modifier is very small. So I mean, hey, it's got to be like the thing to at least balance the guy out with everything else that he's doing. So his ability is what really makes him shine. Is he can only be damaged by your opponent's base attack dice. So yeah, I mean they could have their guys buffed to the moon. Doesn't matter. I could have 5 equipments on my zombie dog. Well, who cares? I'm going to hit him with 1 dice, and that's all I get. Plain and simple. So,
Yeah.
that ability makes him immune to damage spells. No Apocalypse, no Ignitema, no magic that does damage of any kind. Yeah, you just flat out have to duke it out with this guy, and it gets tough, especially when they start buffing him. They start healing him up, keeping him alive. It's just there's so many scenarios where this guy just kind of has his bases covered.
Yeah, we definitely already kind of in the Ward Bowl episode talked about just the prevalence of this card in Ward Bowl, and I think you kind of just covered a lot of it very well there, where, like you said, covers a wide range of things that exist in Ward. You brought up burn, you brought up buffing with equipments. If people just don't understand, Arcturus can only be damaged by base stats. My favorite deck, Elkanos, literally struggles so hard into this deck because the way Elkanos works is it gets buffed effects from having other Elkanos and Harpies on the field. But Arcturus doesn't care about that. He just only wants your base stats, only will take your base stats. And so it's like, because that's the only thing that damages, it's like a lot of people are like, oh, the triple double damage, all this stuff. It's like, no, none of that works on him. He cannot be backstabbed. You cannot deal with him in any of those ways. So I just think he is for a 70 HP 6 AL, like you said. It doesn't take much. It takes one legendary, armor to make him into a 12 AL 12. And so it's like, as much as you bring up like, oh yeah, he has like these low stats. Like having 4 natural hit dice, even if you might have like a 2 modifier, the hit portion, the modifier part, I think is a lot easier to buff in Ward than adding dice right to your creature. So like, I think in general that you'd rather have like that 4/2 stat line than like like as much as Green Dragon's an awesome creature with a 1/7, I think I'd rather take the 4/2 than the 1/7 more often than not, because knowing that I can buff that pretty consistently is always really nice, and getting more value out of those dice. So yeah, I think there is a reason why he's being used currently in the meta, and why I think yeah, he'll probably be sticking around a lot. Again, he is a promo card, so he is only limited to 1. So I think that does lower his power a little bit. If you could put a couple of copies of this guy in your deck, just to kind of stall out the game more from like just taking less damage in general, I think
That'd be frustrating.
yeah, that would be a very frustrating. And I know everyone will be putting in like, oh yeah, you could just deal with it. You can get rid of its effect and all that. It's like, yes, you can, but a lot of that stuff, you have to find the plays. You have to find your windows to operate underneath that kind of stuff, and it's not always the easiest thing, right? And so yeah, as easy as it might sound to get rid of one, there's still a lot of other stuff that it makes it very hard to just be like, all right, let me just one shot this guy who is kind of built to not get one shot. Like that is kind of his whole purpose. So yeah, definitely probably deserves to be on the list.
Yeah. Next up, we got Shapeshifter, out of Gen 3. So, yeah, 4 armor, 7 speed, 60 hit points. His ability is just extremely versatile. That's why he's on the list. Again, can just find his way into support your deck and nearly whatever you're doing. Just his ability is, um, you know, like it's just crazy that you get to pick his ability at the start of every battle. Like, I'm glad it's not a turn cycle thing. Just, you battle on your turn, and then when your opponent goes to battle you back, you can pick a different option that's probably better for you than what you were picking on your turn. So, yeah, this shapeshifter is just wild, like all on its own. But yeah, I mean, if you start combining him with certain other magics and whatever, I mean, yeah, he can get pretty scary pretty fast. Especially if you can do something to where you can pick his extra attack dice, then you're getting 8 attack dice on a creature that you had no sacrificial commitment to, that's pretty strong. So yeah, a shapeshifter's got to be one of the most versatile creatures that is just I don't know, that one of the most versatile creatures that they've made without any strings attached to it.
Yeah, I think it has a lot built into it. As Gen 3 was released, this was definitely one of the cards, I will say, Casey, that I had my eyes out on. As you were saying, the people I think mostly see it as like this bear form. You get the 4 extra hit dice, so it's a 4/1 normal stats, but then you get to add another 4, so you're an 8. 8/1 is kind of like the big, like, everybody's eyes like explode out of their head when they see those. Like, you're just like, you think of like Octork, he's an 8/8. It's like, it's almost an Octork worth of stats, but you get that 60 HP. You get all, again, you're like a low hit mod, or you have like 4 AL and all that. So again, there are some like weaknesses to the card, but like you said, just versatile. Like, you can buff up its armor, you can make it faster. It's like every combat, you can, like you said, you kind of get to change. I was expecting it to be utilized a little bit more, to be honest with you, but it seems like right now at least its priority is kind of gone, and I'm a little unsure if people like haven't just got enough play testing with that card. But I do think, like you said, it being not a sack creature that has 60 HP, it's pretty flexible, can be put in most any deck. I would say there's probably a creature that you could replace in your deck for a shapeshifter if you get your hands on one. But I always kind of look at it more as like I want early game pressure. Like when I look at Shapeshifter, that's kind of my main thought with it. It's like here, if I come out with this, as long as they're not coming out with like again assassins, I would say are probably a little bit of a hard counter to this guy. I mean, yes, you can match them with speed and try to like speed off and hit them. So I guess he has like a little bit of defense against them, but I will say that it's like that's probably one of the more struggles he has dealing with. The one thing is though, is like current decks in the meta, like you said, once they get out their Owl God, once they get out their Creator, once they get out their bigger guy, I will say Shapeshifter tends to maybe struggle just a little bit when it comes to like those matchups. So maybe there's a reason why at this point he's not in the meta, but I think he's definitely a card that people should not sleep on because you're right. At any point, he could just, depending on how people, change up their decks, he could be a really good option to kind of throw in there to throw a wrench into people's plans that they might not be expecting. So I really like the Shapeshifter shout out. I think he'll definitely be a prevalent card going through Ward.
Yep, yep. Next up on the list, I don't know, this could be the most hated card on the list. Ooze Weaver.
I was waiting for it.
Um, yeah, anybody playing Ward right now, as I'm sure has got to know Ooze Weaver. It's very frustrating to fight against. You know, what is it? I think one or two armor. I forget his armor. His armor is one or two. It's down there, but 30 hit points, 8 speed, which is kind of funny enough. I swear like 9 out of 10 times when people go to combat on me, I somehow happen to be going first. Ooze Weaver
Hmm.
is fast. I don't know why, but he just is. So,
It's gotta
um,
be, man. It's gotta have everything built in, right? Ugh.
yeah, but the abilities on this guy, oh god, yeah, just frustrating to play against. Yeah, you can voluntarily take 10 damage to negate your opponent's attack, or you can voluntarily take 15 damage to negate a magic card that your opponent plays. So, and then Ooze Weaver itself is completely immune to all magic cards, so he ain't gonna get burnt out or equipped with stuff or whatever. He's just there to stay for, usually, like I'd say like 99% of the time, he's there to stay for 3 combats, unless you can somehow, bait out a magic card to soak up 15 of those hit points of damage. So, um, yeah, he's just probably one of the best stalling cards in the entire game, if not the best one. So, because yeah, he just stops your opponent from attacking you for 3 turns, lets you draw 3 more cards, you could say. So that's Ooze Weaver. He's yeah.
So what I will say is, control players, mono blue players, if you come from Magic, this is the creature you want to get your hands on. Yeah, this is definitely that play style in a nutshell. I think Uber control player is what I would say. That's all that want this card, and it is a very powerful card. Even though it's only 30 HP, not a lot of stats. It's worth its weight in gold, to be honest. I mean, you kind of nailed it on the head, Casey. It is a card that I piloted at Ward Bowl. I do want to preface this, though. It was a ruling that I got from one of the Ward staff. Again, I'm not sure if this is official or if it was just on the day, because sometimes, like they said, if they're answering the rulings on the day, that they're not always sure if they don't go like check their book and like how whatever they have this whole rule book, I guess, that they go by. But Ooze Weaver cannot kill itself with its own effect. So this is something I learned in the middle of a match at the Ward Bowl, and so I think it actually loses a little bit of its power because of that. Because there are times where if you're at 15 HP, you actually cannot use its effect to stop a magic card, which I learned. So I take that knowledge with what you want, Casey. But again, I'm not sure if that is what the official ruling. That was just the quick like, hey, we need a ruling over here, and that's just what they decided on the day. And so I guess with that, it kind of is a little hard to know how much powerful, because like you said, it definitely changes the dynamic of that card, but I still think overall, just in general, it is still a pretty powerful card. But yeah, it definitely was a ruling that I was kind of surprised by when they said that you can't sacrifice your own creature. I could understand if you were at like that's like your last creature on the field, like, oh yeah, you can't like force yourself to lose, I guess, is kind of the way they look at it. But it's like if that's not your last creature, I guess I'm a little confused on that ruling. But at the same time, it's like, okay, like if you don't have enough HP to use its effect, then you can't kill yourself.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think I was told that you. Yeah, I'm surprised by that ruling too, because I was under the impression that you at least needed the hit points to activate his ability. You know, like if Oozweezer only has 8 hit points left, you can't you can't take 15 damage and negate a magic spell and kill your Oozweaver. Like
Hmm.
you need to have the hit points to use his ability. So
Right. And that
yeah,
is
I'm
kind
kind
of
of
how the ruling is for it, right? But the thing is you can't kill Weaver with its own effect, which I don't know. That's the one part about it that's kind of weird to me, I guess. But yeah.
yeah. Like I kind of thought you could kind of negate two magic cards with it. You know, negate one, and then the second negation would kill itself doing so. So
Hmm. Yeah, well, again,
yeah,
that was the ruling on the day. I don't know if that is like the full official ruling. As someone who has, like I said, I've gotten a lot of rulings wrong, and just by saying it, and I don't want to kind of like spit out false ruling information, but that is just something that has occurred. So at the end of the day, leave it to the ward staff, right? They're the ones who make the ultimate rulings on everything. We just have to accept those. But for what I know, at least with my knowledge, that is how Weaver now is played, but it could be different. So maybe we'll have to reach
yeah,
out to them and see if they can give us the proper ruling on it or how they feel about it.
yeah. Even in that case, it hardly puts a chink in its armor. Doesn't
Hmm.
really matter. Like I said, 99% of the time, it's just soaking up three combats. You know, you
Right.
negate one, you negate the second one, and the third hit just doesn't even matter. You just take it and die. So,
And there's not much you
you know,
can do to counterplay it, right? It's a steam creature, so you have to hit it with like a mind sap, like right as it comes out. Otherwise, it's like okay, unless you have creature effects that can burn it or something, like there isn't many options. So yeah, I think it definitely deserves to be put on this list.
yep. So, all right. Next up on the list, our seventh one would be Scarlet. Yeah, she's on the list because, again, she's another card that is a very minimal hit point requirement, just that 10 health. Makes it easier to slide her into absolutely anything, and she probably turns into one of the most amazing walls in all of Ward. Just got to get lucky hitting those doubles to take her out. So I've seen Scarlet run like an entire game without dying. So it's kind of absurd, that happens. But yeah, hey, it does. And then there's a handful of cards that people play to, try to get around Scarlet and just get that 10 damage in there. And, there are a couple cards that people use who are using Scarlet to make it even more difficult or more impossible for you to hit her. I think one of the classic plays that I heard about when I first started this game was uh, I think Tyler equipping his creator's gift to his opponent's creature,
Hmm.
giving it 2 extra hit dice, which means they're rolling 4 hit dice that all have to match to hit her and do damage. Which, I mean, it's those odds are pretty astronomical. So, um, yeah, it's I feel like Scarlet deserves her place on the list because yeah, she's like I said, very minimal hit point requirement, very hard to hit, just difficult to deal with. You need to have the right cards in your deck. Not everybody does, so a lot of the time they're just stuck praying that they roll those doubles to get rid of her.
Yeah, I think one more thing that you didn't really touch was just flexibility. 10 HP can just kind of go in any deck. I mean, it's really not a hard card to put into decks. Uh, I will say, as we get to this creature, this is one that I might have a little bit of pushback on because I mean everybody will bring up, and maybe I'm just gonna take like the majority opinion on this thing is like there's a lot of creature negation cards. There is a lot of burn cards in this game of War that it's like the counters are very easy, but again, in certain metas where people are not thinking, or maybe they just are trying to counter what it is the meta, they might not catch this creature. I'm surprised. I wasn't sure if anyone ran a Scarlet at Ward Bowl, but I think that would have been really funny to watch, like a heroism like creator just get bodied by a Scarlet that they just can't deal with or something. I think that would be kind of a funny day to watch the god or the creator just get wrecked by the lady the green lady because she can
I
be
know
formidable.
I know Peyton ran a Scarlet in his deck, and he got second place.
Okay, well there you go, second place. You know
I'm
what?
sure he's got some stories of Scarlet road blocking people for a while.
Yeah, as someone who didn't get, never got to play Peyton on the day, I guess I didn't get to see the Scarlet. But yeah, I mean, hey, like Scarlet has been a surprise in many tournaments of Ward, competitive tournaments, and like you said, has done very well. I mean, she has the placements to prove it. Like you said, the decks that have got to the top, and there's a reason because, like you said, even if she seems easy to deal with, just a lot of people kind of forget to bring the counters. One thing I will say: do not have what do you call it, mysterious door in your deck though, because that's a quick way to get rid of your Scarlet right there.
Yeah.
But all right, what do you got next? What's the next creature? We'll leave Scarlet on for now, but maybe at the end of it we'll see if I can, or if we can brainstorm some other creatures that might be on the cusp of getting in.
So I saved the best for last.
Ooh.
This creature is actually one of my favorite creatures in Ward. At the rarity level of rare, it is my all-time favorite creature at the rare level in this game. Gen 3 did not change my mind. But yeah, the creature would be Bear Wolf.
Ooh.
Um,
Okay,
yeah,
Beowulf.
I am a massive fan of this creature. I love it. I think it's a very well balanced creature. Its stats are, I want to say, very middle ground. So, yeah, he's not a big busted creature, and he's, I would say, at the top of the mid level. So, he's got 6 armor, which right there at the top without having to use a sacrifice. So, and then he has 9 speed, which is essentially meaningless. I would say 99.9% of the time, and 50 hit points. So the guy can actually take a hit and keep on ticking most of the time. So, and then his 2 dice plus 4 is again, I want to say they're right in the middle ground. It's nice and average. That plus 4 modifier is like just good enough to usually be getting your hits in. And yeah, he's just, I feel like, yeah, he's a good creature all by himself, but when you put anything on this guy, I feel like he starts getting absurd. And that's why I love him. His ability is really what makes it. Is Beowulf always attacks first, and always is the important word there.
Mm-hmm.
Always, yeah, literally trumps everything else in this game. Your creature like assassin says it's attack first. Nope. Always means always. Airwolf will always attack first. It does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, yeah, buff your speed to 5 million. Doesn't matter. Beats every creature that says it's attack first. Even if somebody plays backstab, which says their creature automatically hits first, nope. Beowulf trumps that too. So yeah, Beowulf is like the perfect counter to it. It's like Assassin's worst nightmare is a Beowulf. Like it's just, it's great. Like I'm the guy that keeps saying speed is the most important thing in stat in Ward. I still stand by that. That's why I love this guy so darn much. Uh, yeah, I could go on and on and on forever, and I don't know if anybody could ever convince me to take this off the Elite 8 creature list.
I mean, I agree. It fits the Casey aspect of a Casey creature. I will have to say I do need to kind of put you more in check. I love your enthusiasm and your energy when it comes to Beowulf. There are a couple creatures that I would personally want to put before him. One first is Necromancer, which is another recent Casey creature that not just Casey, a lot of people have piloted. It's been all the way since Gen 1. Just a card that allows you to pull a creature out of your cemetery. Very powerful effect. I do want to give you a shout out, Beowulf. Super fast, deals with a lot of that annoying stuff. Like you said, always gets to attack first. Tons of fun times where like you said, people that you play, they like you said, they read your speed and they don't notice. They're just like that you're playing Beowulf and they try to go to attack and you're like, my turn first. I always attack first. So yeah,
Yep.
I've had some fun with that card. It was definitely way more prevalent in Gen 2 only, I will say. Haven't talked about that card in a long, long time from since then. So unfortunately, Casey, I would probably take it down off the list. There's another card that I would also, that's 50 HP that I'd put before it is Fog. Gen 3, I think, may have made one of the craziest what do you call it? Like steam creatures. It's not really a steam, it's elemental, but it can't be affected by, your opponent's magic cards, and it always hits. See, now, you know what's better than always going first, Casey? Always hitting. Always. Right? So unfortunately, that will be one of my shout outs. So I know we'll keep the KC creature. It can be Beowulf, but I think we might need to slide maybe one of those, either Necromancer or Fog, maybe into the list instead. I'm sorry.
Sure, sure. Fog always hits, but hey, he's still just two dice like a bear wolf is.
Yeah, yeah, but
And my bear wolf's got more armor. Like I was saying at the start of Beowulf, before we dive off of this, let me just let me just boost up your Beowulf awareness a little bit.
my Beowulf.
Like I said, when
Casey,
you
you need to
start
get on one of those little park ranger hats. You're like, let me tell you about Beowulf awareness.
yeah, let me just tell you, when you like I said, when you start comboing this guy with just about any piece of equipment, he gets really ridiculous really fast. Yeah, Creator's Gift turns him into what, a four dice basically plus 10 damage at that point.
Hmm.
And I would say you're gonna hit because you get four hit dice. So, and hey, like I said, you're doing this first all the time. Um, you pair him with, of course, Flame of the Infinite, takes his armor to 11, gives him that third hit dice. He's always going to hit, and that turns him into a three dice creature with plus 9. That's always going first. And then all in one. Uh, I mean, hey, your opponent drops their creator and wants to go to combat. Well, you're going to hit theirs first with 12 dice.
Hmm.
So you're going to get a blast in before you die, if you die, you could say. So yeah,
Yeah, I do.
and legendary armor takes him to 12 armor, so he's very difficult to hit. He gets that third attack dice, six extra attack. Three. So he's a three dice plus 10. That's always going first, and he's the max hardest to hit with that 12 armor. I mean, yeah, I could go on and on, but
Mhm.
that covers the big
No,
bases, I think.
I think it is very fair, and something that you kind of are prefacing. It's like a lot of other creatures have to focus on those speed, equipments to kind of give them that extra edge, right? And where you're kind of making a very good point, where Beowulf doesn't need to have those extra. He doesn't need celestial power, right? And not that I'm saying celestial power is a bad card, but a lot of other creatures need that card to get over things like assassin, over those fast speeds, right? Where it's like Beowulf, he can focus just mainly on buffing his damage and all those other stats that I think can be way more crucial in a fight or in a combat, when you are combating with somebody of equal strength or speed or whatever, right? It's like just having the option to not have to worry about equipping a celestial power to make sure he goes first. I think, like you were saying, can really make a difference. So it's like I think you make a very good point there. But yeah, I do like Beowulf. I'm not saying it's not up there, but I just think, we do have a lot of creatures on the list that I think would definitely, people would argue with you about it. And you know what? Where they can go argue with you, they can go into the comments of this episode after they just listen to our Elite Eight creatures and tell us what they agree with, what they don't agree with. They can make a whole list of their Elite Eight creatures. We would love to hear that too. So again,
Very cool.
make sure you guys all hop in the or in the chat or whatever, and what do you call it on YouTube? I don't even know the little chat box, whatever. Type in what you guys think your elite eight creatures is. We'd love to hear it. But yeah, thanks Casey for bringing that. I think having the most powerful or the most universal cards, I think, is always a good talk to have with anybody when it comes to a trading card game.
Oh, and hey, like I said, this list of eight creatures, just the opinion of this one guy. That's it. It's just my opinion. This is not a definitive list. Like, hey, these are the eight creatures. No, this is just my opinion of the eight creatures that I think are elite. So, yeah, anyone wants to discuss it, I would love for a whole discussion to get blown up in Discord about what people think is I mean, maybe that's it. You start getting 50 to 100 people discussing it. Maybe we could actually hammer out a definitive list of 8 creatures that, hey, these 8 creatures got the most votes for being the strongest creatures in the game. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, definitely a good.
just my opinion of 8 creatures.
Definitely a good poll to run, like you said. But I think you did a really good job. Like, it wasn't like you just took a random amount of creatures. I mean, like you said, you have a lot of competitive play under your belt, a lot of just general play under your belt, and I think it's like, yeah, like knowing all those different abilities, just how they interact, how they perform in a game, especially at a high level. I think definitely gives you quite a bit of knowledge on it. So Casey, I appreciate you bringing that. We are gonna move on. So elite creatures are gone. So you know what we're gonna talk about now, Casey. What we might consider not elite creatures, but we have the WWB AJ League. It has officially been announced. Actually, today I released the announcement. If people aren't aware, it's something I kind of shouted out a little bit ago about making the AJ League. AJ stands for Average Joe, which is our common and uncommon cards format. I guess is we kind of created it on WWB. Because like you said, Casey, you come from Magic. I mean, they have like, what is it called, like Popper, and so a lot of people like to play with just like the common uncommons. A lot of the cards people most of the time say like don't get to see a lot of play, and have some fun abilities or cards people love, or just things like that they're really fond of, that they want to play with. And so I think AJ is just a good way to kind of give people that opportunity where they don't have to feel like, oh, I'm not bringing my common uncommon to a legendary party or anything. I get to have people at equal level matching off against me. And so this league was created kind of just for that purpose. It is, again, to have new players who can't get their hands on a lot of those legendary, those powerful cards. A lot of the cards we were just talking about in the Elite Eight, they're a little trickier to get your hands on. And so the AJ League kind of gets rid of that barrier of entry for people. And at the same time, like you said, it also is, to crown, to kind of see. We haven't really had like a very competitive AJ format yet for people to really test their decks since Gen 3 has been released. So this is a good check mark, I guess I would say, to see like how has AJ kind of adapted over just the course of now adding Gen 3. I mean, we had AJ play in a couple of our last leagues, but we only kind of did like partial. It was like, here, different formats. We were just kind of testing the waters of what we wanted to play and see. But at this point, I just really want to get a lot of AJ play into the scene of Ward and really get some data on it, because I think it is kind of fun also just to kind of push people's minds to be like, here, let's look at Ward in a way that you kind of haven't looked in or have thought about too much. And so I think even for like experienced players like me and yourself, Casey, it's like this is a great opportunity for us to kind of test our brain power and how we can put these decks together. And so yeah, that's kind of the premise of why I made the AJ League. For people, if you haven't seen the announcement yet in the Discord, I guess this will be my time to say, so the league registration starts today and it will go until Sunday of like this coming week. So what is that? That's going to be July 13th, I think, is going to be the start of the league. So you have a whole week from now. So today is Friday, so it's the 3rd to the 13th to basically get registered. So all you got to do, it's a $15 buy-in, pretty standard for most of our events. And then at the same time, all you have to do is just send confirmation to me. You can just message me in the Discord. I'll be posting this on Facebook probably too, or just even on YouTube. Whatever way you want to get into the league, you can get into the league. And basically that's kind of it. $15, and you just say you're gonna play. And then it's 5 weeks. So we have 5 regular weeks of AJ, where you're basically going to be playing one opponent a week. So you only have to get one game in for a whole week. Not a huge commitment at all, I think, for anybody. And if you're having trouble with, contacting people, obviously contact me. We'll get a hold of the people that you got to play. But again, every week you're going to play a new person. You can use a new 30-card deck. to play. And again, all the cards are legal. Even Irresistible Love, Casey. I don't know if you've seen this in my post, but I don't think that card needs to be on the ban limited list anymore. So I'm just whatever. Everybody has access to 3 copies. If you want to run 3 copies, you go right ahead. I'm sure most people will shun you and they'll say bad, but whatever. If you want to be a part of that, you get into it. But yeah, with that, Casey, I guess what are your thoughts on an AJ league?
I'm totally excited for that. I don't think I've played an AJ tournament since Gen 3 got released, actually. I can't recall being in one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep. They threw one
I'm
at
pretty sure I
the
haven't.
they threw one at the Curious Crow, I know, yeah, like right when Gen 3 released. But obviously I think it was the day, it was like the release party day. So like we were all
Yeah.
at our own, local stores getting ready for the release party. So yeah, I didn't
Yep.
participate in that one either.
So yeah, I mean, I haven't played an AJ tournament since Gen 3 got released. So yeah, I'm super eager to yeah, run AJ now. I feel like I mean, it was a little bit. I want to say it was a little bit narrow with just Gen 1 and 2 because I mean, hey, you only got 2 sets of cards, to build your decks out of. So it's such a small card pool. Like there's only so many ideas you could think of, but like yeah, adding in a third set, it really does bring in a lot. I just especially looking through the roster of common and uncommon cards in Gen 3, like some of them can like almost bring about like their own decks, like completely new decks actually. So yeah, just a few things that jump out to me is like I haven't even actually I did adjust my AJ deck that was Gen 1 and 2. I think I added in like two Gen 3 cards into my list that I'm running a couple copies of. So but I haven't actually gone to the drawing board to make some new AJ decks yet. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that and just a few things on my mind. Like I said, I haven't made any decks yet, but was I think Orc Hunter seems like it could be a card where a totally new AJ deck could come about. Anybody, I mean, maybe a lot of people might not recognize these cards since they're just commons and uncommons and generally get looked over pretty quickly and not used. But Orc Hunter's just a common, and whatever, just whatever stats. His ability is on your turn you can limit summon one common or uncommon beast type creature from your hand. So I think this is like kind of the first limited summon thing brought into the AJ format. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm just kind of eager to see what kind of deck can be developed from that guy. Um,
I
what
mean,
do, yeah,
if
what
I'm
do
to
you think
jump
about
in,
that?
I think as you're bringing up Orc Hunter, as much as people are like, oh, he might be part of the Orc, brigade squad that comes with the World of Orcs, I really think he actually is like the missing piece to Wear decks. I think
Yeah,
he actually just turns Wear decks into like crazy, like you said, a couple different options. I was never a fan of Wolf Knight, and honestly, I think Orc Hunter is like a better Wolf Knight in my honest opinion. I'm sorry to say it, Ward staff. It is.
right.
Someone had to say it. But I actually really liked Orc Hunter when I first seen it. Um, as you're bringing up other decks, you kind of were right about the limited summon being Orc Hunter, but I also Gen 3 brought about Crow and Scarecrow is something that I am super excited about as a limited summon player. Using the combination of Scarecrow plus Crow with like limited summon cards. I mean, Attack Beacon is something coming to mind. If you can get all those crows to just be hitting. You gotta that I think that is always something to think about. So yeah, no, definitely like you said, a lot of different play styles are coming out. Tri Dragon is another big card for AJ that no one's really tested much with Gen 3 that I think will. If you haven't seen what that card does, basically it's kind of like a Scarlet but a reverse. If you hit all your hit dice to the same number, it does triple damage. So,
Yeah,
that definitely a powerful card. So yeah, all you got to do is roll all your hit dice together. So definitely a card where I think people might be using like Warming Glow as like a counter to that card, just so that they don't have to deal with the triple damage potentially.
There's another one that I'm kind of curious to see somebody make a deck about is Arzulian.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I kind of look at him and I almost feel like he could be the creator of AJ in a way.
Hmm.
Um, just yeah, those big stats, right? 9 armor, 12 speed, 70 hit points. So I mean, in AJ 70 health, you're gonna stick around for a bit. But yeah, I just yeah, kind of curious to see how buffed up he can be. But you can just start buffing his speed, and I feel like he'll get really strong. So
Hmm.
Frog Bard seems to be an insanely good card in the AJ format. Um, I think another one where a deck will get pushed to a new level is Into Madness. I think can make
Hmm.
a you know full undead or demon or combination of undead and demon
Hmm.
type deck. I feel like Into Madness can really push a deck to maybe a competitive level with that card with Vampire and Succubus. So and the magic of I think Vampire Mistress is a great card for AJ. Just that little damage, little healing could really go a long way in certain scenarios.
Hmm. No, one of the most powerful cards that I think have come out of Gen 3 2 for AJ is just Demonic Blood. Like you were saying, not only having just undead or demonic creatures, but you can also create your own demon creatures now with any creature can become a demon creature, right? So you can give almost any card those stats, which I think is very powerful in the game. And not only that, you can also put it on your opponent and run exorcism and deal with them that way too, right? Things like that. Or I think it's exorcism. Or no, exorcism does demons, right? Yeah.
Exorcism, yeah.
Yep. So that combo exists now too. So it's like even though we might have lost like double hit and stuff, there are some really fun combos that I think are coming from Gen 3 cards that people are going to be able to play with. Another creature I'm seeing from Gen 3 was Lava Golem. I don't know how much you've looked into Lava Golem, but oh my goodness,
Yep.
that is a fun card. Old Logging Road is going to be an interesting card in AJ, I think, too. But again, you also have the infamous Swamp Dragon from Gen 1 that I think, honestly, still does it's still a really powerful effect of a creature, especially since it has wings when you're talking about like Bramble Field, so flying,
Yep.
like all flying decks, I think those are going to be kind of fun with the creatures with wings. So yeah, no, it is really cool. Like you said, I think there is tons of deck varieties that people can kind of figure out which ones they really enjoy or like. But like you said, as we brought up like Were decks. Were Rabbit is a new addition to Gen 3 that also buffs up those Were decks with the full moon. Moon Cat is still available, so I think there's just plethora of play styles for people to to dig their teeth into and really get to try out and test. So like I said, you get 5 regular weeks of AJ to play, so you can use any deck you want, and then when you get to the at the end there'll be a tournament on August 13th. So again, it's going to be 5 weeks out, but August 13th, the top 8 players of the league are going to play in the tournament. It's going to be best of 2 bracket, all that stuff. It's going to be played just on one Saturday, but you're going to have to lock in your deck at that point. So whatever deck you decide you want to play with AJ, that is where it's going to get a little competitive. So at first it's pretty just inviting, friendly, but at some point I want to get the competitive aspect and really see people push these decks. And so yeah, that'll be kind of like how the whole league ends. So again, register. You can register today, get on it, get registered. You have a whole week to get registered in, and again, just $15, and then obviously just message me. I'm sure you'll be messaging me to figure out the whole payment thing anyway. So both those things get done, and you're checked in. And like I said, then it's pretty laid back. You play one game a week, and so yeah, let's champ. Let's find the champ. The WWB AJ champ is what I want to find of of the AJ League. So there we go. That is something to look forward to. So I'm glad you're excited, Casey, because I'm super excited with it too. But with that, we're kind of winding down. Casey, I know you had one more thing you wanted to cover. I want to call it KC Card Spotlight. Basically, we're just gonna take a card. Casey will probably be providing it. He likes to do your little comparisons on in the Discord, so I'm just gonna add this as like an extension. So, Casey, tell us what card you would like to discuss today.
Yeah, this maybe we'll pop this segment in from time to time or every time. I don't know, but yeah, just a little segment where I just want to spotlight a card, talk about just strategies and combos with a specific card. So yeah, for first edition of this, the card I'm choosing is Ancient Book.
Ooh, okay.
So
Legendary
yeah,
Gen 3.
I was just kind of taking a look at this card the other day, and um, the thing that was attracting me to think about it was it giving a +8 armor buff. So the first thing that jumped to my mind was, you know, what armor level 4 or 5 creature in this game could I slap an ancient book on and it suddenly turns that creature into like a very serious threat, like
Real quick,
it
Casey,
jumped
a lot of
like
people might not know, so I don't want to cut you off, but do you want to just kind of go over all the stuff of Ancient Book, just so people that maybe are new, they could get all the stats and all the text on the card?
yeah, in fact, like ancient book's a little unique. I mean, it is an equipment card, but it is a lightning card. So you're only able to play it when your opponent plays a lightning card. So when they do that, you can equip this to your creature of yours. But yeah, it's restricted to when your opponent plays a lightning card, then you get to play your ancient book.
Hmm.
So um
So it takes a
yeah,
little bit of setup to kind of play,
it
but
does. Yeah, once it hits the field, it's treated as an infinite magic card. So, yeah, then it can get blown up by things that blow magic cards up. So,
mhm.
but Ancient Book gives your creature 15 extra attack damage. It gives it a +5 to hitting, and it gives it +8 to armor and +5 to speed. So
Crazy
it gives
stats.
some, yeah, some ridiculous stats, right? So anyhow, when I was looking at this the other day, it was just the 8 armor was the thing popping in my head. Which
Hmm.
armor 4 and 5 creature in this game can you slap an ancient book on, and suddenly it turns that little mucky creature into like a legendary level powerful creature.
Right.
Just by popping up its numbers. So, um,
Turn everything into an
yeah,
AL-12, basically, is kind of the name of the game,
yeah,
right?
right, yeah. Like how good are these little creatures when they're suddenly maxed armored?
Hmm.
Um, what one of the first things that jumped out to my mind was shapeshifter. If you can get an ancient book on a shapeshifter, um, yeah, like shapeshift. I mean, we talked about shapeshifter a little bit earlier being on the elite creature list. Yeah, boy, if you get an ancient book on him, like, oh my God, does I feel like he gets extremely stronger. You know, the thing I was mainly looking at, yes, it takes him straight to 12 armor, so you don't have to pick that option in battle anymore. Getting +5 to your speed, so I'm at 12 speed, so you should be, granted you can make your speed go over 12, but you're maxed out on what's printed on a card, basically, I guess with the exception of Manticore now. But yeah, you should be equal or faster speed than everybody all the time with this on. So um,
Besides Beowulf.
you'll yeah, yeah. So you shouldn't have to pick the speed buff on this guy anymore when an ancient book gets on him. So yeah, you're just looking at attack damage and hitting at that point. And a +5 to hit takes him up to a +6 for his hit. So hopefully you'd be fairly decent at hitting what you want to. I mean, in a dire circumstance, you could pick, to buff your mod, by 3 more and take your hit up to 9, which will almost virtually guarantee you're hitting. But I feel like once you get an ancient book on this guy, more often than not, you're going to be taking his 4 extra attack dice. So you're going to be looking at a creature with 8 dice +16 damage after that. So he's like an octo orc on steroids. I
Hmm.
guess you would want to say.
No, and one thing that we brought up too when we were talking about shapeshifter, or at least I kind of look at it is like I kind of call it like a very aggro card to begin with. Like you said, you're getting it out early. It doesn't need a sack, and so it's like it's very consistent, and you're able to try to like steamroll your opponent. And the nice thing about having a deck like that is your opponent probably feels like they're going to need to react to it, right? They're going to need to stop it in somehow. So you're probably going to force a lot of those flash cards to come out in a deck like that. So it's like that just gives you even more of an ability to be like, okay, this card should be more reliable in this deck, because if they don't try to stop me with my plays, I will just win the game, right? I will just knock them over, and then even if they do try to counter it, all right, well then here I'll play this really powerful equipment that, like you said, will basically just give me the ability to beat anything. I mean, yeah, you're getting close to creator stats right there, right? Like that's kind of the numbers you're hitting with only one equipment. And so it's like, yeah, I mean, that obviously it's kind of a no-brainer, like you said, when you see how much stats come on that card. I really do like your shapeshifter shout out. Something I do want to try now, like you said, try to make like a deck where I force my opponent to like play into my shapeshifters and see how well I can work it. I know in Gen 3 only I was trying to make it work a little bit, but I feel like it just they're the one card you got to be careful of is Sasquatch. I did find that when I ran that deck, Sasquatch making it so you can't play Lightning after it's been played can be kind of a pain in the butt, because if you top deck an Ancient Book on your turn, you're like, well, too bad they Sasquatched me last turn. Now I can't play it. But either way, like you said, if you can find your windows, that's the one thing about Ancient Book though, is it's like you kind of have to time things up a little bit. Otherwise, it's hard to sometimes get the value. There's also decks that people run where they don't run any flash cards at all, which makes you a little bit out of luck in that regard too. But like you said, overall, I really like Shapeshifter plus Ancient Book, and I'm sure there are probably a couple other cards. I mean, another creature that comes to mind and a really fun, kind of even a Casey combo, I guess we might tie this into too. But Equip Knight himself, I don't know if people know, but you can equip any equipment to him, even if they need requirements required for them. The ward staff has stated that that is a card that can just pull out any equipments out of your deck without worrying about the requirements. So you could just pull out Ancient Book right out onto an Equip Knight right away and have that consistency too. So definitely a little bit of a fun play style to play there too. So I think that'll be a cool combo also to try out. So yeah, I really like the Ancient Book, and like you said, I think just finding creatures that have low ALs that you want to buff up, I think is always a great time and a fun time.
Yeah, I think another creature that Ancient Book um, it takes it over the top is Vampire.
Mm.
Playing the uncommon card Vampire. He's very average slash below average, not that big a deal. He's not too crazy because he's just one dice plus two. But you get an Ancient Book on this guy, and I feel like he's gonna start to be a bit of an issue, a little bit more to deal with. So, Vampire's just 4 armor, 9 speed, 60 hit points. So the 60 health is just good enough to stick around a bit. But yeah, his ability is he heals for half of the damage he does. Like I said, which usually is never much because he's just one dice plus two, so there's not much going on there. But just getting a single Ancient Book on this guy takes his armor to 12. Max difficulty to hit. Takes his speed to 14, so you're probably going to be going first almost all the time. And then, that 15 extra attack damage automatically putting his damage at 17, plus you get a dice roll. So I would say you're going to be doing 20 plus damage every time you're hitting. So you're going to be healing 10 plus health every single combat. Your combat and their combat if they decide to hit you. Like, yeah, this guy just healing 10 every single battle. I feel like is suddenly turning his 60 health into like 100 plus health. Who knows how far it will go? And that's just with a single Ancient Book on this guy. I'll turned him from this super average sort of meaningful guy into a serious threat.
No, right. And another creature that kind of has a similar effect is Mosquito Man. I don't know how much you played this card in Gen 3, but he's 40 HP, but he's a 2/3, so he has a little bit more stats. But I will say I kind of like your Vampire pick a little bit more just because of the fact that it is that 60 HP, which I think you can utilize his health a little better than 40. Sometimes 40 HP creatures get ran over a little too fast where like they can't really get enough value to like make up the difference, right? So it's like I kind of actually like your Vampire pick over even like Mosquito Man. Even though I really do like Mosquito Man, I think he's a really cool addition to Gen 3 as a rare. But no, I Vampire is definitely like you said an awesome card that you could pair with Ancient Book. I really do like the thought. Like I would say for the majority of players, it's Ancient Book is the kind of a card that you want to stay on the field for a while. So don't try to throw this on like assassins. I would say I'd probably stay a little bit away from just littler HP creatures. Usually you're not going to get enough value out of it, I would say, for like what you're trying to do, especially since it is like you're not guaranteed to get this card out. You got to kind of use it, I would say, more as like a counterplay card, right? A trap card, if you would, like against your opponent, where it's like, I think bigger creatures, honestly, like even if it is like AL6, but with like 100 HP, I know there's a lot of creatures like Steam Spider, Green Dragon, right? The Maniac, these creatures that could really utilize those stats, but also have the sustain to keep those equipped cards on them. I think are kind of like more where at least I would kind of see this card going, right? Casey, would you kind of agree, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with everything you say. You explained it perfectly well right there.
Yeah, because like I think a lot of people might get a little baited where they're like, "Oh, my assassin could have plus 15 to attack," but it's like that's a lot of commitment just for a 10 HP creature that kind of doesn't even need those stat, right? It's like it doesn't need those things where a creature that might have a little less AL and a lot of HP could really utilize hitting for 15, extra damage every hit, right? It definitely becomes way more oppressive in that regard. So yeah, I'm kind of with that right there. But I think for a KC spotlight for the first one, I think that was awesome. I mean, do you have anything else to touch as we wind down for the?
Uh, what one more guy?
Okay,
Ancient
okay,
Book.
give me one more.
Wizard Frog. Wizard
Ooh,
Frog.
okay. Why Wizard Frog?
So all right, again, taking his armor to max 12. He'll put his speed at 15, so again, he's probably going first from there on. But yeah, his plus 15 to that attack damage, and he already has a plus 3 mod, so you're already at 18 without rolling your two dice. So you roll your two dice, you could say average, you're going to be around 25 damage, and Wizard Frog ability is you can choose to discard a card to the bottom of your deck if you want to double his damage. So extremely easy to squeeze out 50 damage off of this guy.
hmm Yeah.
Um,
I love Wizard
yeah,
Frog. Sorry, Gen 2, one of my faves from Gen 2. One thing that I want people to know if they use Wizard Frog, his effect you can do at any point in your turn. So even if you've like once you've done your whole damage rolls, then you can use his effect. So if you know how much damage you need to kill a creature, like Casey's saying, especially when you have Ancient Book on, it's like, okay, let me use its effect, right? And then I get to have that. So it's definitely a really cool card. And Ancient Book, like you said, just makes that card basically hit for 50 damage almost every turn.
yep.
so so yeah, no,
But yeah, hopefully these ideas just give some people some ideas for throwing some decks together.
No, I think you're definitely someone like I said who pushes that thought a lot. Like I said, you do your comparisons in the Discord where it's like this card and this card they're very similar. What do people think about it? And like I really like the fact that you really do try to have people at least look at the cards, even if they might understand that it's like maybe these aren't competitively viable cards, but it's like here, what are their purpose? Like what can we learn from these cards? And honestly, I think it will help just the game in general as it grows really get people, even the ward staff, maybe when they look at that kind of stuff and be like, hey, oh yeah, like maybe these are good card ideas. This is somewhere where we can improve this card idea. And then we might see different variations of these cards in the future and see how they've kind of adapted over, the way that we cover it and talk about them. So I really like this. So thanks for the KC Spotlight, card Spotlight. I think, like you said, this will be a cool addition that we can kind of like throw in every once in a while and talk about one of the cards. But with that, let's wrap it up here. Final thoughts, Casey. where are we at with Ward at the moment? Still on a little bit of a break. We don't have any ranked play, nothing going on until August. Where are you at?
Uh, I'm just obviously I feel like I'm just in that idea brewing stage right now. Looking at Ancient Book and what it can go with. Looking at the AJ cards since we got a league coming up for that, and not having played an AJ tournament since Gen 3. So yeah, I'm super in the think tank of trying to find new stuff to play with. So yeah,
K-
AJ and just other cards, where can I push decks to from here?
Casey's in award meditation. He's just on the hill. He's powering up, getting ready for the next season. No, I love that. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you said, just the growth of Ward. Like just watching it over the years. Like I said, every new event, new thing that's coming up with Ward, it just always gets me super excited. Like you said, obviously we're very passionate people. I put a lot of time into the game, so it's like just seeing these things come to fruition is awesome. And like you said, trying to push as much content. Again, the AJ League is obviously something that I'm looking forward to. Hosting it, throwing it on, just giving people that opportunity to play in any way they can. Obviously, the Crit Hit League is another thing that just excites me because, again, even though it's like, we're on a break, that will give people something, if they want to get a little bit of competitive play, hopefully maybe attract, even more people to be like, okay, I can actually kind of track I think that is like one of the big things I didn't cover with the Crit Hit earlier, is just like being able to track your progress, right? It's like it actually will have the stats. They're very stat focused, stat driven, and so you can really see like, okay, this is how much I've improved. And I think a lot of players love seeing how much they have improved over the time that they've played, and something I really enjoy. So that's something I can't wait for, that Crit Hit League either. So make sure to go register for that too. And then obviously again, one more shout out if you're at Comic-Con, say hi to the Ward staff. They got a booth there. Buy some packs. I know we've been having people flooding the Discord coming in, telling us how excited they are about it. So with that, we're gonna wrap up episode 70 of WWB, and we will see you guys next week. See ya.
The 8-8 stat line is very big, it's very powerful, but yeah, on the other end of it, it's extremely fragile.
Get your thoughts too, as being ranked number one. Everybody's dying to know what Billy Hughes thinks.